Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to also share, like, and comment.
Thank you very much. I think that with all of the different parties that make up UKA, the whole idea is that we're going to be working together. The final goal is, in fact, to have all these parties become one. That is what we are aiming for. As a result, quite a number of us are promoting as far as possible UKA, even if it's at the expense of our own parties, because the greater goal, the end goal, is actually that we are going to become one.
Yeah, and there's no problem with the UKA members to say, look, let's push this agenda of UKA, even if it comes at the expense of our respective political parties.
If you are in UKA, one of the things that you say you want to do is to work together. The only way to be able to work together is if we become one. That is the best way to work together. So there shouldn't be any problems from any of them. If they don't feel that way, then they would not be part of UKA and they would leave UKA.
Yeah. All right, let's get to really the registration of UKA. And I had a conversation. I'm always having these conversations with people before, I come on the airwaves to say, look, we do have the UKA chairperson coming through. And the confusing part with the people that I've had this conversation with is, do they want to register as a pressure group or as a political party? Maybe let's start from there before we come to the status of the registration of UKA.
Okay. I want to make it quite clear that there's two applications that we are making. One is for an umbrella body, as the United Kwacha Alliance, which will be an umbrella body for all the various political parties who subscribe to the thoughts and ideas of UKA. And not just the political parties, but also trade unions, NGOs, students' unions. They are free as well to come in. That's why there's a need for the umbrella body. In the meantime, there's also the political party that is being formed, under which we will be fielding the various candidates in the various elections that will be there. And so there's two applications. One for the United Kwacha Alliance, which is the umbrella body, and one is for a party called UKA.
Using the same name?
Yes, UKA.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And let's now get to the registration of UKA as an umbrella body and also a political party. What's the latest?
The latest is that it seems that the government is in total fear and trepidation about UKA, and they're trying their best to slow down the process. Right now, as we speak, for the United Kwacha Alliance, the papers that we need to take to the Registrar of Societies are still with at force headquarters with the police. Excuse me. Apparently, for them to clear the fingerprints that we have put.
And for how long has this taken?
Well, we put that in quite some time ago. I think we are running past 2 months now. Yes, and they've not finished that. You cannot take the documents to Registrar of Societies without the police having done that and signed on those forms. I was there just last week, and the person who was handling it was telling us that, no, not to worry, we're still working on it. And we're surprised in that, for example, when you had Miles Sampa do his registration for the PF when he allegedly took over PF, it was swift. It was super swift. It was within minutes. You remember, it was done on 24th October 2023. Just that 24th October, I'm sure in your minds you're wondering, done on a holiday? Yes, done on a holiday. not only done on a holiday, but done after 20 hours in the middle of the night. And it was done within minutes.
Yeah, so then why has it taken you this long? Is it because...
It's not us. It hasn't taken us this long. What it is, it's a government, which is... the ball is in their court. We cannot take the next step until the police have signed off on the fingerprints that we have given. Yeah, so it's not us. I want that to be very clear to the general public, that it is not us delaying or us who are dilly-dallying. We are at a stage where the ball is in the court of the government. Yeah. They are the ones who need to either tell us that, no, so-and-so on the list of people you brought has got a criminal offense, so it can't be cleared.
That was actually my next question. From your end, do you think everything is perfect? Everything that you submitted to the police, everything is good from your end?
Everything is good. If there was anything that wasn't good, then they should have told us that this is the problem that we have. But they can't just keep quiet.
We've had a lot of conversations really from people in government and also from the ruling United Party for National Development, trying to say, look, this issue, we've got nothing to do with it. If UKA is failing to register itself, if it's failing to have its party registered with the Registrar of Societies, it could be maybe there are certain issues that they're not doing right. That's why they're delaying.
The challenge is, if truly that is the case, let them state why they're not giving us back the documents which are at the police. They're the ones who should state that there's this aspect which is wrong. For example, Sakuba Scotta, we've just found he's got a criminal record. He stole so much in that year and was convicted, so he cannot be one of the ones who are there. Let them state what the position is. So
maybe it could be the police trying to do maybe some background research on the fingerprints that you...
That shouldn't take them that long.
Yeah.
Like I've said, with others, they've done it within minutes. Within minutes. Surely. At least let them tell us that we've cleared 8. We're still waiting to find out more about 2. Not just this silence. And then in their silence, they then turn around and say, oh, no, it's them who are not doing anything. The ball is in their court.
Yeah.
They are the ones who need to take the next step. The next step of either telling us, no, you've got these people on the list who do not qualify, or something. They can't just fold their arms and say, no, it's those people who are dilly-dallying.
Yeah. We've also had conversations of the name UKA. And there's been some sections of society, we've also seen these stories come up through the mainstream media, that, others could be wanting to register another political party using the same name. Others have also expressed, concern to say, look, this name, there's been conversations about the name. What do you make of those conversations of the name?
I think that the name has landed. The name has stuck. The name has been accepted. The name is not going to go anywhere. UKA is here to stay. UKA is going to be forming the next government.
In an event, the Registrar of Society says, look, we're going to register you, but not this name. Use another name. What are you going to do then?
If they would say that, the first thing that we'll do is ask them, why? What is the reason why we cannot have this? And in fact, there is a pending letter with them saying, what problems do you have with the name UKA? It's been there and they have not answered it. They are not able to give an answer. That is because they've got no reason, no proper reason. If they had a proper reason, I challenge them to state that you cannot have the name UKA for the political party for the following reasons. Once that is done, it is then open to us to put in an appeal. The appeal under the Act goes to the Minister of Home Affairs. We know, of course, that the Minister of Home Affairs is also dead scared of UKA, so he will not give us a proper thing. Then, once he's given his answer, we can then go to the courts. But we cannot go to the courts before we've got that answer, because the court will say you've not exhausted the administrative procedures.
You talked about how that the Minister of Home Affairs is dead scared of UKA.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Do you think it's not only him, or there's quite a number of people that are scared of UKA? Because I've had, members from the ruling party on this particular platform. I never asked them that question. Are you scared of UKA? And they said, no, UKA is not even a factor to us. UKA is not even registered. So why should we be scared of an entity that is not registered?
The reason it's not registered is because they are so scared of it. That's why it's not registered. And if indeed UKA was not a factor, look at any time they think there is a negative story about UKA, it will be headlines in all of the state media. If something is not a factor, you don't give it headlines, even if it's something negative. The very fact that it makes headlines shows you that it is a factor. Just at the Heroes Stadium, unfortunately, the president was being booed at the stadium, and one could also hear in the background people shouting to him, "Ukaiwe, Ukaiwe." Not a factor. Let's wake up.
All right. So in case you are just tuning in, you are listening to Monday's edition of Chatback right here on Radio Christian Voice. My name is Angel Kasabo. And this morning we do have an interesting topic. We are looking at the status of the United Kwacha Alliance, and my guest this morning is the chairperson of UKA, Mr. Sakwiba Scott, State Council. He's with us in studio to help us look at this particular topic. So for your contributions, starting with text messages in this particular hour, the number is 0956 200 490, 0956 200 490. Then also a reminder that we are live on Facebook. You can follow the conversation there. You can post, let us know where you are watching from. And also your contributions and questions, you can have them posted on that platform. All right, let's get back to the conversation. And you've talked about how, they are scared of UKA, and how that you are a factor. You are the heavyweights on the political scene. But then maybe let's get to the rally that you wanted to have. Maybe before we get to the rally, I think this is a question that I may have missed. When you came up as 9 political parties, I think at that particular time.
It was 7.
It was 7 at that particular time when you're just forming UKA. I know you've had a lot of press briefings where you've repeatedly talked about, some of the things that you are looking to do as UKA. But just maybe a reminder, because it's very easy for people to forget. And I do have quite a number of questions really on this particular item. The reminder, the question that people are always asking, say, why did you form UKA? What's really the purpose of UKA? You already do have political parties, because UKA is formed of political parties of presidents of political parties. There's that. Why have you come as UKA with this particular alliance?
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's a very important question. But just before I get into that, just to fill up on the issue of them being scared, UKA is the only political party in the last 6 months where you've had multiple press conferences held by party UPND government officials and party officials. You've had the Minister of Information, Cornelius Mweta, have at least 2 press conferences just on UKA. You've had the Minister of Home Affairs have a press conference just on UKA. You've had the Registrar of Societies, which is very, very odd, which has never been done before, put out a press statement on UKA. You've had Permanent Secretary Akafumba have at least 3 press conferences just on UKA. If indeed we were not a factor, you would not be having them having press conference after press conference on UKA.
So then why are they having these press conferences on UKA?
Because, like I said, they are dead scared of UKA. They've seen how it has been welcomed all over the country. the way that people have taken to it, that is very, very evident, and they know that. So that is what is scaring them.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, to your question as to why we formed UKA, the reason is because people were saying that there's too many players in the political field. And they were complaining that we get confused as to whom to vote for. And it makes it difficult for us to decide who to vote for. The other reason is when we looked at each other's statements and so on, we found that there's a lot of similarities in terms of the policies that we want to take. And we're saying, well, if we're so much in tune, of course there's some differences here and there in terms of policy, but broadly we are of the same view, then wouldn't it be better that we work together and give the Zambian people an alternative option and make it quite clear to the Zambian people that you've got either UPND or you've got this alternative. And the alternative that we are asking the people to buy into is the fact that we are going to be doing politics in a different way. One of the ways is that we have to be honest to the Zambian people. No lies, no exaggerations of what we're going to do for them, but to be upfront with the truth. That is very, very important. I think that one thing that President Chiluba should be commended for is the fact that he was willing in 1990-91 to tell the Zambian people the truth and not give them fanciful promises. If you, well, I won't say if you remember looking at your age, but if you go back into the history and look at the addresses that he had, he would tell people that it's going to be difficult. When we come in, it won't be easy. You'll need to tighten your belts.
This is what UKA is going to be telling the people.
UKA is going to be telling the people that it's not going to be easy, but we're going to make sure that the trajectory is going to be you getting a better life. We're not going to be telling them that immediately we come in, by 14 hours, you'll have 3 meals a day. We will not be telling them things of that sort. We'll be telling them things which are attainable, not fanciful things which sound good but are clearly not attainable. Because you have to be honest with the people that you are leading. If you start off with telling them lies, then you're not going to be a good government. Yeah. So that is one of the things that we're going to do. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to ensure that the resources of Zambia benefit the people of Zambia. Right now, we have a situation where our resources are not benefiting Zambia. If you look at our mineral resources, they're benefiting outsiders. They're benefiting these multinationals. The monies are not even coming back to Zambia. That has to change. Those things need to be for the benefit of Zambians.
Yeah.
We're also going to make sure that things such as fuel and so forth, that we get the best prices available. The best way to do that is to have competitive tenders. Not what they're doing now. They're single sourcing, going to one person or one company to be doing it. So that person having a monopoly is able to put whatever prices that they want. And you've seen in the last 2 weeks, the issue of the fuel has been very high in our media. And basically because you've had a situation where they've single-sourced and we don't have competitiveness about it. It's not only in the area of fuel. There is so much single sourcing that is being done. Even with the Mopani issue, they took out, threw out the various tenders that people had, bids that people had put in, and decided they'd go with the IHG, single-sourced them. And if you look at the kind of contract that they've gotten, it gives away so much.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
And other countries such as
51%.
Tanzania and so on get much more. They get much more. And also they give all these tax holidays to the mines, which are not necessary. Other places don't give these tax holidays. They tell us that, no, if we give the tax holidays, they'll not come and invest. They will, because in other countries, they don't give them those tax holidays, but they're there investing. It is just us who seem to be so afraid to do something which will be of benefit to the Zambian
These
people.
are all things that UKA looks to change.
Yes.
Okay, maybe we'll get to those things a little bit later in the second hour of the program. Let me just narrow it down to the composition of the United Kwacha Alliance. I do know that you've been having some political parties join, and I think I saw a presser that more political parties are to join this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. But then there's been also concern on the composition of the United Kwacha Alliance. There's been critics to say, look, we've had a lot of alliances, we've had a lot of opposition political parties, but we don't even know what makes UKA different. And they've narrowed it down to the composition, the political party presidents that form UKA. These are presidents that we are familiar with. And there's been a cry that, look, there's nothing new. This could be the same old politics. They are saying, look, we're looking for fresh ideas, and we're not seeing that in UKA. What's your response to such criticism?
It's a very interesting criticism. It's true that we've had lots of alliances in the past. You had the alliance, which was the one between UNIP, FDD, and UPND. That was in 2006. They formed an alliance, and that alliance disappointed people. It didn't work out. Then you had, in later years, the alliance between PF and UPND. That again didn't work out. It's disappointed a lot of people. So in the people's mind, it's sort of like alliances don't work. Now you have an alliance between various political parties, like you've got Milupi's party, you've got Mutati's party, there was Enes Mwansa's party, KBF's party, with UPND. They call it the UPND Alliance.
Yeah.
That too has not worked out. You've had KBF.
That's when, despite them winning the elections.
In spite of them winning the elections.
With the same alliance.
Yes. KBF has moved out. Several of them have moved out. The only ones who seem to be very strongly still there are Mutati and Milupi. And that has floundered. So Zambians are saying, so what's different with this one? There's one fundamental difference.
What's the difference?
In all of those other ones that I've told you about, UPND has been in them. In this one that we have made, UPND is not there. In other words, what I'm saying is that UPND has been the spoiler of alliances, and we don't have UPND in the UKA alliance. So it is very different.
Maybe one would argue to say they've been spoilers, but they at least managed to win a general election.
Winning the general election is not what is important. What is important is making a change to Zambian people's lives, making it so that we do not have the amount of hunger that we have, making a change so that people are not having to wake up early in the morning to line up for mealie meal. Making a change so that people are able to get to work using public transport and not getting up early in the morning and working for 2.5 hours to get to work. That is what is important. We are not in this. That's the other difference. We are not in this in order to merely win elections. We are into this to actually make a positive difference for the lives of the Zambian people. That is what we've dedicated ourselves.
So if it so happens that 2026 UKA does not win the general elections, it's still going to continue?
It's still going to continue because our mission, which we are going to achieve, is to make the lives of the Zambian people much better than they are now.
Yeah, then also the party presidents that form UKA, there has been scrutiny one by one. You've also been scrutinized to say, look, State Council he's rich politically. I mean, he's been there for a very long time. They've scrutinized the likes of President Sawo Imbuela, likes of President Jackson Selaway, and then there's also been the former president who's been heavily, scrutinized and said, look, we feel he should have stepped aside and let UKA run, with the others, because he's had his chance to, rule the country, and maybe it's time for fresh and new ideas. I know these are conversations and these are questions that are usually thrown at you with the inclusion of the former Republican president. But as UKA, how do you feel, or what do you feel, his presence brings to UKA?
Thank you very much. Everybody who's in UKA brings something to UKA. Everybody has certain aspects which enrich UKA. If you look at the way we are wanting to make a difference to Zambian people. We want to ensure that mistakes of the past do not happen again. One of the things that is helpful is if you have somebody who's been in government, who will be able to tell you that this kind of mistake, you may fall into it if you don't put into consideration this or that. Who may even tell you that, we had a similar situation and we tripped ourselves up because we didn't take this into consideration. That makes your performance better because you learn from the mistakes. Apart from that, there are also certain successes that those who have been in government may have. And they will be able to, again, tell you that in spite of us having this success up to this level, the drawbacks which we then saw were as follows. If we had dealt with these drawbacks, these successes would even have been greater. So that becomes an added as well.
Yeah, an added as well. Maybe just there. I like how you've explained of the role that these people that have been in government before play in such an arrangement. But don't you think you could have them in some sort of advisory role, maybe consultancy, not actually have them in this particular alliance, but say, okay, fine, you've run the systems before. We'll be coming to you for advice. We'll be coming to consult from you.
If you do that, there may be something that you feel, we've solved this, we've got this in hand and we know the answer. But there's something that you haven't taken into account. So you will not go to those people and say, this is what we are planning, because you think that you know it all. But if they're right there, and you're making this plan, they'll say, hold on a minute. With that, there is these problems. So it's better they're there. Not that you say, when we think there is a problem, we go there. Because you may overlook a problem. Because you haven't thought about it, you'll overlook it and you will not go there. So it will not be rectified. So it's better they're there and they'll be telling you that, no, don't go that way. Do it this way because of such and such a thing.
Yeah, and also looking at the composition of UKA Alliance, all presidential aspirants, very strong aspirations to run the affairs of the country. Are these, UKA political party presidents?
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J-Cool.
Intimidated in one way or the other by the inclusion of the former president? Because to our eye, State Council, most Zambians even know who UKA is going to choose as yeah, trust me. They know it's very easy to read in between the lines.
They think they know.
We think we know.
Yes.
But maybe before thinking of knowing and not knowing, but are they intimidated? Because I have followed all them. I look at President Harry Kalaba. He's got strong ambitions to be the president. I look at Jackson Silavo. I look at President Sabo Mbwela. I look at even yourself, State Council. You also want to run the affairs of the nation. Are you in any way intimidated by the inclusion of the former Republican president?
No, there is no reason to feel intimidated. First of all, when one comes into UKA, one of the things that is the one thing that you must adhere to, otherwise you cannot come in, is to recognize that any one of us could be the one who's chosen to be the presidential candidate. Not only any one of us, but it may even be somebody who's not from amongst us and will identify, Angel seems to be the one that we should put forward, and will come and see Angel and say, would like you to be the leader of thing. And if you accept, all of us must then rally behind and support. That is the only way you can come into UKA. So there is no feeling of intimidation. There is no feeling of superiority over anybody else. We are all equal. And I think that that also is very helpful for UKA and even going forward. You do not have this situation where we are looking to say, so-and-so in UKA is the messiah of UKA. Like you have in most political parties, that you find that the president or somebody is messiah, in inverted commas. With us, we are all equals. When we have our meetings, you'll have a situation where we may not agree on things, and we will freely say, they have been told in some of the meetings, no, Saki, that is wrong, we can't do that, and so on. And I have to
go with it.
To accept. I have told some of my colleagues, so and so, no, that is not right. You can't do it that way, and so forth. And if the others also agree, they've had to go with that. So none of us is seen as a messiah that whatever they say goes. And that is going to be good for the Zambian people in that when we do form government, let's say from amongst us, X is the one who is the president. And they're in there. And if X starts to misbehave, we will not be there afraid that, how can we tell him? Just like how we deal with each other now, we'll go and say to X, you can't do that.
This is not the way.
This is not the way.
So for instance, because I know the formation of UKA, you've talked about is entirely about the people. It's about the people.
Yeah.
So if the people say, look, we love this idea of UKA, but this one, we don't want this president in UKA.
We are a listening group of people.
Have you been listening to the people?
We have been listening. We've had a lot of people, even from areas where we haven't yet gone to, who have been reaching out to us. A lot of people have been talking to us. The silent majorities are there, and we're making sure that we listen to the silent majorities.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's get to, before we hit the top of the hour. I know it's almost 10. But I've also had a conversation with other political parties that are not part of the United Kwacha Alliance. And I've asked them, look, what's happening? Why aren't you guys joining UKA? Have you made submissions? Have they approached you? And some have been really strong with their criticism of UKA State Council. They said, look, we do understand this UKA, but we don't know sort of, why they're doing it. They've questioned your looking for a really good term.
Raison d'etre.
Also your interests, because they said, look, again, it comes back to scrutiny. They've scrutinized one by one, and they're saying, fine, these are the presidents that form UKA. What do they want? What's their goal? So there's been also that criticism from other political parties that haven't joined UKA. What's your response to that?
No, we are aware that there are some people who say they don't quite know if they should join or not. And we have been going systematically from party to party, engaging with them, letting them know what we are all about. And hence the reason why you see parties joining, some of whom even publicly before have stated that they didn't think it's a good idea. But after we've had that interaction, they've seen the point and they're coming in. So it is a work in progress, and we will get to those as well and sit down and talk to them and let them see. And then hopefully they'll see the light and join us.
And also the mode of recruitment, maybe just to use a word that suits it. How are you recruiting other political parties? Is it an open invitation? Are you sending invites, or they're actually coming to you and say, look, we want to join the United Kwacha Alliance?
It is an open invitation for those who want to come in, and some are coming in. But also, whenever we have an opportunity, we interact with these other political parties and get into, conversation as to what we are all about, what we want to achieve. And then you find that in terms of what they want to achieve, a good number of times it's basically the same thing. Then the question then becomes, then why don't we work together? Seeing that we've identified the same kind of problems, we're standing on the same rock.
Yeah.
And it starts to make people think, why not?
Yeah.
And as you've seen, the numbers have been growing. We've now reached the number has now reached 11.
11 political parties.
Yes.
Okay.
No, 13. Sorry.
13 political parties. All right. Let's have a breather. We do have the news coming up at 10. And then we'll continue our conversation just after the news. So in case you are tuning in, you are listening to Christian Voice. You are, we do have today's edition of Chatbag. And the topic of discussion is the status of the United Kwacha Alliance. And my guest is the UKA chairperson, Mr. Sakwiba Squatter State Council. He's with us in the studio just to help us look at this particular topic. And for your contributions, the number is 0956 200 490. And also a reminder that we are live on Facebook. RCV News is the platform. Make sure you do get liking and sharing that page.
Chatback on RCV News.
You are still listening to Monday's edition of Chatback right here. And my name is Angel Kasabo. Thank you so much. In case you're just tuning in, we are now into the second hour of the program. And also a reminder that you can follow our conversation live on Facebook. You go to Facebook and search for RCV News. RCV News is a platform where we post everything current affairs. So come through and let's get interactive on that platform. This morning, we do have a great topic. We are looking at the status of the United Kwacha Alliance. This is our topic of discussion, the status of the United Kwacha Alliance. And I'm privileged to be joined by the United Kwacha Alliance chairperson, Mr. Sakwiba Squatter State Council, to look at this topic. And let's get back to the conversation, our State Council. Just before that, we're really talking about the composition and everything, but also maybe another question that I should have asked in the first hour of the program, talking about the timing. And there's been conversations of UKA is a very good idea, but we feel the timing is wrong. It's too early for these political parties to form this alliance. Right now, what they should be doing is offering alternatives, offering solutions to some of the challenges that Zambians are facing, rather than now, starting to roll out this campaign of UKA. There's other issues that these opposition political parties should be doing. Is the timing right?
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCO.
The timing is excellent. This is the right time to do so. And in terms of what we are doing is giving alternatives. That is what we have been doing. If you look at the presses we've been having, we've been telling the government what we feel should be done about pressing issues. When the Barotse land issue was high and very, very emotive, we did come out and suggest an alternative to say the only way out is to have talks. And if you're so far apart, even get a mediator who will then mediate between yourselves. That is giving an alternative. Another alternative that we did give is that of saying that there's a need, because of the drought situation, to actually declare the situation of the drought to be an emergency. Luckily, some 2 months after that, the president finally did do that.
So they heard you on that one?
They heard us. They had no choice but to hear us. The other thing that we did do and provide as an alternative is we told them that they need to make sure that we have a professional civil service. That NIPA used to give courses to civil servants in order for them to know the civil service regulations and orders. And in fact, you could not progress up if you didn't pass certain levels of exams. So at various levels at which you took exams. And only if you passed would you be able to get to the next level, become director, for example, or become permanent secretary. And again with that, it seems like they did listen, because you saw them having the ministers go for that short 1 week study that they did, in which they declared there that civil servants now will be doing that. That was a direct result of us giving these alternatives. So we are giving alternatives. If you listen to what we talk about, alternatives are being given all the time by ourselves. And in terms of saying that you should wait and it was too early, what you have to realize is that what UKA is doing is a very important thing. You've got 13 political parties. Those 13 political parties, we are synchronizing the various manifestos of those 13. We are also making sure that we have to now integrate the various party structures of the 13 political parties to become UKA structures. You can't do that a month before the election. You need to start now, and then they see how they'll work. Then they can start becoming in step with each other. So it is certainly not too early. This is the right time.
The right time.
Yeah.
And another critic that has come through is, especially from government itself, through their chief spokesperson, to say, look, UKA in its current form is not really, an alliance that we could pay attention to, because it's an alliance without any representation in parliament. There's no member of parliament that's coming through from all the parties that are in UKA. What's your response to that? Because every time there's a representation in parliament, then we know that this parliamentarian comes with his own people. So they said, look, there's no representation. So we don't even know really what do they want to do, because they don't have representation. They've actually separated the Patriotic Front because of the issues that are there. So look, we know the president of the Patriotic Front, but there's a faction and there's all this.
It's amusing that they say that's actually amusing. You say that UKA, we can't even pay attention to them, but you've called a state press conference to talk about those that you say you cannot even think. That's what is so amusing about it. Clearly, UKA is something they cannot ignore. Otherwise, you'd never have...
Regardless.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd never have them holding these multiple press conferences about UKA. Mm-hmm. Why would you hold press conferences about something that you don't need to worry about, that you can ignore? That answers your question.
Okay. Let's get to the recent ward by-elections that we had as a country. We saw that there were quite a number of by-elections. And I think it was sweeping victory for the ruling United Party for National Development. We saw political parties that are affiliated, that are members of UKA, also participate in these by-elections. And we saw, the UPND having victories. What do you make of their victories, really, especially for you as, UKA Alliance members? You being the chairperson, because I know you've brought up with this agenda. There's this movement that you're trying to promote. And then on the other hand, the ruling UPND is sweeping all them by-elections. What's your response to that?
Firstly, we were very happy with the way we conducted the by-elections. It was a test run for us, a very important test run. There were various things that we wanted to test, which will be
So
important.
it was just a test run, really?
No, it was partly a test run.
Yeah.
It was also a learning curve. I'll explain.
Okay.
There are certain tests that we wanted to ensure that we carry out and see. One of the tests was at short notice, we have 11 political parties. At that time, we were not 13, we were still just 11. 11 political parties, and the various political parties wanting to field candidates. Now, to get the message filtered down to the local levels that, look, we're going to have to choose just one candidate in each one of those. We do not want to see a situation where ULP has put up a candidate, FDD has put up a candidate in the same, Citizens First has put up
the plan.
Has put up a candidate in the same, because then the whole concept of working together would fall apart. And we managed to achieve that. There is not a single seat where we had more than one of our constituent political parties standing. So that was a big win for us. The other big win was to have a situation where the parties locally would be able to assess the candidates and say, okay, let this one be the one who will stand. Because almost each one of them did have somebody they were saying this is our candidate, this is one. But they met and were able to reconcile themselves to say, okay, our person will not stand this time. The one who represents the UKA consortium is this one from this party. That, again, is something very important for when we get to the 2026 elections. The other thing that was very important for us was in order to test whether our plan B could work. Our plan B being that if the government continues with its ploy of not registering the political party that we want, will we be able to field under one of the existing political
So you already have a plan
party?
B?
We already have a plan B. We've also got a plan C, by
You
the
even
way.
have a plan C?
But I won't tell you the plan C.
No, you can't tell me.
No.
You're not going to tell them. You can tell me.
Afterwards, I may tell you.
Okay.
We've even got a plan C.
Yeah.
The plan B is that if they carry on with denying registration, would then use one of the existing political parties, and we saw that that could happen. The fourth thing that we wanted to do was to then have a situation where, having chosen the party and candidate in that particular area, that linkages start being made between the other political parties and that one. And we saw the seedlings of that starting to happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we wanted to also do is to look at what are the Imingalato tactics of the UPND in the various areas. And that as well, we managed to see. They would do things like, for example, one of our parties is got a certain area where they've been told they can have their rally and so forth. They organize people to come there, and you find the UPND coming with outside forces and so on, taking over.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCO.
That crowd, and then making it their rally. You had situations where people were basically being fed at the UPND camps, and you know what the hunger situation is like in the country. So they were basically lining up people, handing out, so basically bribing the people. You had in certain areas violence which was being perpetrated by the UPND, and
that's in these ward by-elections.
That's in these ward.
Did you report these activities to
There were
perhaps the Electoral Commission of Zambia?
Some of them even were widely reported. There is a Socialist Party official who was hacked, and pictures of him with the wounds were there. I'm sure you must have seen that. Again, coincidentally, another Socialist Party candidate, a female candidate, was threatened, even abducted.
Reports of abduction, yeah.
Yes, those were there. In the issue of the taking over of our rallies, that was reported in writing with the Electoral Commission of
And what was their response?
Electoral Commission of Zambia, unfortunately, is just an extension of the UPND. They did nothing.
So you don't have confidence in them?
None at all. And it's something that we are going to be fighting to have changed, because you cannot have.
Even in the run up to the 2026. You're still not going to have confidence in them?
No, none. There's nothing that will change amongst them. They are cadres of UPND. That's what they are. And that should not be the case. They should be independent.
So how are you going to fight that? If you say they are cadres, how are you going to fight it?
We're going to keep on knocking on their doors. We're going to be also alerting the various people who usually send in election observers to say right from the word go, your opening statement in any report that you make is the composition of the ECZ, and to point out to them, give them the history of the people who are there, show them pictures of these people in party regalia of the UPND and so forth. There's so many things, so that is on record. Hopefully, when they start seeing that the people out there are alive to this, maybe they will then see the sense of changing and making the playing field even.
Yeah. And then also talking about impact, because you talked about how you've got a plan B. So you went for that plan B to field in these existing political parties really that are UKA members. Do you feel, even if it was a test drive, do you feel the impact, of UKA was felt among the electorates when you have the numbers and look through how the results were coming in these different ward by-elections?
Yes, we feel that the impact was there.
It was there?
It was there, definitely, in terms of the people who are then even carrying on with the formation of the structures and so on. That impact is certainly there. Committed people, not people who were voting because they've been given mealie meal or they've been given cash or anything like that, but people who are truly committed. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the actual elections themselves, people will not be able to be fed in terms of the numbers that would need to be fed, that UPND has been doing. That's why historically you'll always find that in by-elections, the ruling party invariably wins. That is a fact. They invariably win. And this will happen right up to the very last by-elections before the general election. And then you find, boom, the general election is something totally different. Because what you have in terms of those who support UKA is not, they don't support UKA because they've been given mealie meal or cash. They support because the idea is something which they agree with.
Okay. Before we get to some of the challenges that are affecting the Zambians, talking about the current load shedding, the fuel prices, the performance of the kwacha to other currencies, also of the issue of the mealie meal. Let's tackle one issue that you've also been very vocal about, the democratic space. It's very difficult to run away from because this is a song that opposition political parties have really been singing. And we do understand that you had planned to have a rally in Kafue, and you gave notice to the police to say, look, these are our plans. And then police denied that, expressed security concerns. And then I think you had a virtual rally, was it?
Yes.
It was a virtual rally, yes. So maybe for starters, what do you make of police denying you that particular permit to have, that rally? And also, it's also going to be very good to hear from UKA on what you make of the democratic space in Zambia. We've seen even international envoys say, look, we feel that the democratic space in Zambia is okay. It's probably better, than where we're coming from. What do you make of all that?
With the British High Commissioner, I think that he should really apologize to the Zambian people. You cannot say that we're doing great in terms of a democratic space when an individual can be told that you can't go to church, you can't go to a market, you can't even jog. Is that democratic space? Surely. It can't be said to be that. You cannot say that there's democratic space when a priest talking to his congregation complains about the state of the high cost of living, and you summon him to the police. You cannot talk about democratic space when journalists who have taken pictures, you come and you grab their cameras or their phones and have whatever they've taken deleted. You cannot say that that is democratic space. You cannot say that if somebody wants to merely blog, that now you're going to be having, you're going to introduce legislation to require them to register, and if they don't register, they'll go to jail. You cannot say that that is democratic space.
Comparisons have always been made to where we're coming from. That's a comparison.
Comparisons, even if you were to do that comparison, you did not have anybody stopped from jogging. You did not have anybody stopped from being threatened with arrest for going to the market. Even if, let's say, that happened, let's say it happened, does it mean that if previously people were going out there and burning babies and boiling babies in oil, you say that, no, we're also going to burn babies in oil? because it happened in the past.
Maybe just
what is wrong is wrong.
Yeah, because
and it should never, ever be excused by saying it happened in the past. Anybody who takes that kind of attitude should never be in government.
Yeah. Opposition political parties have usually, given examples of the former head of state in activities, maybe, let's say, for instance, jogging. We all know that, though, I don't know, maybe also just to tap from your knowledge on, how maybe a former head of state is supposed to go about issues. Because I think for them, that's the concern. That's the basis to say, look, yes, there's all these issues, but he's also a former head of state. So maybe there are certain things that he can do. There are certain things he may not do, because especially when it's in public. And for us, look, we're confused. We don't know how that works. But maybe tap in from your knowledge. How should things be?
First of all, a former head of state is a citizen of the Republic of Zambia, has got all the rights of any citizen of the Republic of Zambia. He can do anything that any citizen of Zambia can do. What there is that he's also got access to certain privileges. That is, privileges like the retirement benefits. But is entitled to those if he is not in active politics.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCO.
The current 6th Republican president has decided that he is not going to claim his terminal benefits, and he is not getting those terminal benefits. So he has got total freedom like any other citizen to do as he pleases, so long as it is not infringing the law. Jogging is not infringing the law. Going to a market is not infringing the law. Going to church is not infringing the law. Dancing is not infringing the law. So that is what we should keep in mind. Those who are trying to stop him are the ones infringing the law, because they are infringing on his rights.
Okay, now let's get back to the police permit that you wanted to have that rallying curfew. Tell us what happened there.
And that's the thing. The police believe that you need to have a permit. You said police permit. What there is under our law is that notification. Notification is what is required. Notification has been given to them. But it seems Ambassador High Commissioner Woolley is endorsing what Grafel Musamba has said, that there can be no rallies. He will not allow any rallies. That is what Woolley has said is great about this. In fact, we'll be writing to the British government asking them to confirm whether or not they agree with Woolley that banning rallies generally shows growth of democratic space. Whether getting journalists phones and cameras and deleting shows growth of democratic space. We'll ask them whether they agree with Woolley that church pastors must be summoned to the police for merely giving sermons. We'll ask the British government to confirm what Woolley has said, that it is okay for bloggers to be stopped from blogging. We want to fully understand whether Woolley is representing the British government and whether they endorse these things that are happening.
All right. Let's get to, before we get to the phone lines, just a reminder that the number is 0956 200 490. 0956 200 490. Perhaps I think we can get some callers on that number. 0956 200 490. And then also on Facebook, it is RCV News. Okay, RCV News. There's a video up there. You can post your comment and contribution just beneath the video. All right, and then the number is 0956 200 490. Let's start with some text messages. This one says, "Good morning. Listening to the program. Okay, UKA could be God sent, and there is high anticipation on the performance of this political party in the 2026 general election." Thank you so much for that particular text message. Then this other one says, "Good morning, listening to you from Kitwe, though the signal is bad, but would like to know what is UKA's plan on the high cost of mealie meal." Thank you so much. High cost of mealie meal there. This other one says, "Good morning, Mr. President, Mwauka Bwanji. It's UKA all the way. I can hear plan B, C, and D right there. It's like UKA is unstoppable. Mr. President, there is a law or piece of legislation that stops..." Or, Mr. President, is there a piece of legislation that stops a former president from interacting with the people? What can you say about the current shrinking democratic space in our beloved country? Raymond Chulufia Kitwe. Thank you so much, Raymond. This other one says, "Good morning, listening to..." Okay, this one says, "Cannot get you clearly, but please ask for me on what policies UKA will make in the fuel sector." Thank you so much for that text message. All right, so these are the only text messages that we received. Perhaps you could respond to them, and then we'll get right into our next question.
Okay.
So there's one on mealie meal, one on fuel, and also asking about if there's any law, really, a piece of legislation that stops a former president from interacting with the people. And also asking what you can say about the democratic space in Zambia.
Okay, I think I'll start with that last one from Raymond, because it carries on from the last question I was answering. And perhaps Raymond had even written that before, had made the answer. But to add on to the answer, Raymond is identified quite rightly that there is no law which stops a former president from enjoying his democratic rights. And in fact, the government should encourage all Zambians to enjoy their rights to the full. Right now, what is happening is it's as if we have a state of emergency. You know, under a state of emergency, you can make regulations that would then stop somebody's freedom of movement. You can even restrict somebody to say you can only be in this district or in this town. That was done to our former leaders. KK at one point was, I forget which part of the country, but they sent him some rural area and restricted him there. They did the same with Kapwepwe. They did the same with Mundia and various other political leaders. But they did it under a state of emergency. We do not have a state of emergency. So you cannot say to anybody that you cannot go this place or you can't go there. You cannot do that. If you want to do that, declare a state of emergency and have regulations put in place which will allow you to do so. Otherwise, you are acting illegally. That's what they're doing. What is UKA's plan for the high mealie meal prices? I think that what we have seen is that we have had very bad seasons, the last 2 seasons. The drought has also come in this particular season. But even without the drought, you had a situation where this government, due to incompetence, was delivering seeds late, fertilizer late, And even when they delivered fertilizer, not sufficient, though they had farmers sharing mameda of fertilizer. How do you expect them to then be able to put out a bumper harvest? That will not happen. Now, the laws of supply and demand then will make the prices shoot up and so on. So from the outset, you have to make sure that inputs are there on time. You have to make sure that you also mitigate against possible droughts by putting into place actual plans for irrigation. Not just talking about it. This government is very good at talking, but not at delivering. At talking, give them 100%. Talking, give UPND 100%. Action, give them 0%. So they've talked about wanting to do irrigation and so on, but there's no actual plans that they've laid out to say this is what we're doing. There hasn't been any commissioning of anything to do with irrigation because they don't have the plan. All they do is talk. So you need to ensure that you do actually have irrigation that will go all out. And that will help to bring about the bumper harvest. That will also help in that all areas can have their own midi meal. And then ensure that the plan which was begun of setting up mills in various places, localities, is pushed forward, and that you have as many mills as possible close to the populations, close to the various populations, so that we do not have this issue of transporting maize to the mill. From the mill, again, you transport now the midi mill back towards where you had picked up the maize in the first place and so on, because then there's all these extra costs that come in. So you do away with that. And the very issue of the cost of fuel.
Okay, maybe before you get to that, let's squeeze in a caller. I know he's been trying to call. Good morning. Has through to the program.
Good morning, Angela.
Yes, your name and where are you calling us from?
Washmalan.
Yes, Washmalan.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
We are suffering here in Copper Belt. If you mulanda mashiwa kankala, apeti efo ikayakwa kwa opposition, mkwate fe mutima umo. Elo mwika ite mwanga mwa president kudia. Ababa yu na abapwakali. Muna Zambia onse kuno kubigodia leader. Na wantu babu bene baledi ko kweba ti umuntu uyu twalikasa. So please be unite. Nga mwai katana bwino fimuka talefe umuntu wakweba ti ule fight kwa bantu bale fire. Mamone mkwate mutima wakweba ti unishani elo ni balungu ni membe mukatalefe umuntu uli wonse. Aba yupendi abana abapwakali. Ukungana balunda fyonse fyecho wamona kwa transport kuno na arunda abantu balefwa kwenda abantu abana banshiwa balechula abali musebo abantu balechula bana marketing abasho musalu ulebola fi takuli wakushita abantu bali pya abantu government yanyu doni yali katenda lama kana pera abantu balechula so ko seni fe please papata kufunya po buteko ngabwapi to buteko yenani ubu tukambo kuli abana betu mukwa inatotera.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution, Washmalan. Great to know that you are listening. Just a reminder that the number is 0956 200 490 0956 200 490. We do have another contribution here. It says UKA has ECL who tailored cadarism. Under UKA, how do you hope to handle this? People are afraid of cadarism.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCO.
Okay, let me get another caller. Good morning. You are through to the program.
Morning, Angel.
Yes, your name and where are you calling us from?
Wash Precious Mtakire Kitwe.
Yes, Wash Precious.
Naposha baona ibo Scott Point. Also tuweka vya pewe na Zambia chile mwa kile cha kusapamo ngabauka. Zambia stwale fwa antweba alengero kwa tiuka ife pamoja mwapo ba opposition. Ifo kwa alera na tikata neni sencha pamoja kuombea chapa. na umona umuntu umo na ngobabina ngwatati petu watushupe iyo leyo ndefo kumi chinkula kuchako bati ngawamikanya ladi yabo mfuira imwe kwa mure kwata ngawamikanya kushinguka mu market muka vienisi ngana ngwamira se bamikate ito background ishi tire mikemeno wako so kuyufira bahaka ino kwebati yo shan bemitintin tira iyo tapo cyo kwicya kwa baskota wina paya amakadda babika kuri CZ mu batenzi nibakadda baja basa alome nibakadda lomba mbe ikabashani ngatwasumisha bakadda barera bakala ni nyama ile na 2026 apo mubombe kwa na tote.
All right, thank you so much. State Council, before I get cited, are you able to understand? Are you getting them clearly?
No, I am.
Okay, all right. Good morning, you are through to the program.
Yebo mwasebeza bwanji
Bwino mwaka bwanji
awe kauka bwino mukamba na mwami kalenga
mwamba kalenga
mwami kalenga
mwami kalenga mututumina kuchokera kuti within Lusaka. Please go ahead with the contribution.
Thank you. Sabinga kambe tulipokala mwanga mwami takuti opposition concept tulitana kutika mbirako kamba chechilungamo ba new John government anapenda mkukiononga bintu apasibili bino yai naona kutoka patani wanangira mpawa ndio kwa mtaki ndio bina mpawa kama tukizaka hapo nikatoka mpawa but pale ndio kama chechilungamo kutoka patani wanangira mpawa bantu anali kuzima ndata ngo mnaka bati za mabwela vitu vizachipa utapata pa ofisi kwa tatuka pa 120 wacha go 120 atia ikemtende basi wacha kwa pesa chuo ya 17 kama nizabweza kia ikemtende basi petraza ikemtende basi manje lero after hapa budget yabo vintu vyote kwamba kutura ukilambo konta ndo bacha balengeza nyara kama tunabaki kwa ofisi yao kwa sababu ndio wote wa 120 mtataka kamba yako ndio ofisi kupata usipa hata kama maguli sawa triende na zingatia kia balengeza nyara mtira kwanza maona so abantu lero manje bambakipana lo sheding nabene ndo kamba kibatabwela bazakiza lo sheding ili sanguye kwa wanakamba lo sheding is the thing of the past ndero mna lo sheding pale lero ilike kwanza inalikuwa anaimika kwanza acha kama minzi hapo ni mameshi hapo na lo sheding ni kwanza isile
okay
ndio lo sheding kodi nikani ukongeleza hii
all right
sasa na Dubai kulipa ifula kuja maona but kwa nitafanya malaiti the whole period maona
okay Mr. Mohammed, thank you so much. We'll have to let you go because we have to give chance to the others to call in. Thank you so much for calling in. All right, thank you so much for your contribution. Let's just get the last two callers, State Council, then we give you time to respond. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Yes, how are you doing, Morgan?
I'm okay, and how are you doing that side?
Very well. Please go ahead with the contribution. Under 60 seconds, Mr. Morgan.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. I think for me, my point, these opposition who are coming up, what solution are they bring on the table? And what are they telling the people? Because for us, we haven't seen any solution, any tangible solution. Even if you say UKA, what is UKA? But what when you are UKA, what are you explaining to the people to understand you? And what point are you bringing on the table? Don't just make noise, but bring solution to the people. We know that there is a government in place, but if the government do bad, you have to. This Zambia is a democratic country. We have to bring a solution so that we move together. But we have seen that this is a previous quarter and his colleague. Then they're failing to bring solution on the table. I thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Let's see if we can squeeze in one last caller. But before we do that, this one says, let me just get that. Okay, before I get to that message. Good morning. You are through to the program.
I don't want to
Bwino mauka bwanji.
Tauka bwino, ntine kwa Evans, ntimira kwa Zanga.
Yes, Mr. Evans.
Na ine kutia contribute na kondera wa ni ban 65 proceed.
Na ukabwino mauka bwanji.
Tauka bwino, wazesi pamene muchita explain mukamba chape bwino, pikilizani, because no Zambia, it seems as if we are ignorant. There is no lawyer making Marisa Muntu Kulini. First, the president, even the former president, has got the right. But in Zambia, So what I can tell you, in my frustration, these are politics. Now, if you are get frustrated in everything, those are just playing politics. You can just playing on your mind. So you need to stand strong. Whatever, just strong. You are in the game of politics and expect frustration and disappointment to come on your way. So you should not go down, but you should proceed further. That is my encouragement to you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans. Great to know that you are listening. Let me just pull one message. It says, good morning. UKA has nothing to offer in this country. It comprises of a leader who totally failed to run the economy and the affairs of the country. Look at cadarism, the way it was riding high in bus stations. No jobs for the youths. Is this what you want to bring again, State Council? Okay. Good morning. You are through to the program. Wino Mashuken Mkwai.
Tulifeo Wino Mlishani.
Nami pakata mulina abayititetezi nesatabomba nabamweso ababantu ba UPN gide affairs natunakana bena mulefwa
Mkwai
natunakana bena dabari leta kwa tire londolo napa natunakana bena bombe sheni era bitinya abo ngaba mapanga ladi bamikanya mokupanga kelani fopele kwa Zambia ngabamika tabula isamkumfunya by force twanifunya tatuleba fwa. This is the message.
Okay, your name again? State Council, I know this is so much, but if you could bundle all that in 5 minutes, I would really appreciate.
I'll try my best.
Please.
Yeah. I would like to thank those who have said that we should stay strong and we should not be intimidated. And I want to assure you that we will be staying strong and we feel no intimidation. With regards to your calls that we should go ahead with the rallies, in fact, we are going to be giving a notice very soon to the police. We're going to have one in Lusaka because we want it to be a massive rally. And if the notification for any reason they say that we shouldn't have it and it's communicated to us, we will go ahead because they cannot continuously stop the opposition from having rallies. So we will go ahead. We will have the rally. The dates will be given to you soon. And thereafter, we'll be coming to the Copper Belt. And we will also be having a rally on the Copper Belt. And most of the people, in fact, who are saying that have rallies and do not relent seems to have been calling actually from the Copper Belt. So we'll expect you to come to the rallies no matter what the police are going to say. So thank you for those words. Then you had some people who were saying, UKA has nothing to offer, no jobs for the youth. What will you do? What are the solutions? I think that if you heard me earlier on, I did point out some of the solutions that this government, in fact, picked on and copied. There was the issue of the irrigation. There was the issue of declaring the drought. There was the issue of the civil service. They actually bought into those solutions. There are other things that we have given solutions for, but which they have not picked up. For example, we have said that we should be getting full benefit from our mines. And if we did do that, even these things about debt restructuring would not have been such a big problem. If you look around the country, even amongst our neighbors, they are getting better deals for their minerals, unlike us here. You talked about the fuel. Somebody asked about the fuel. In fact, one of the problems is what you are reading in the papers, this single sourcing that this government continually goes for. What you need to do is to have competitive tenders, and then in that way you will get people who will be able to supply to you the fuel at a cheaper rate. Right now, we have this problem with the pipeline. The persons who have been given that don't seem to be able to ensure that there's a free flow of fuel on that. There's constant punctures and so on in the pipeline. So there seems to be a problem with that. Again, maybe it's because these persons who were given this were not in the fuel industry. So that is one of the solutions that we would give to these people, that they need to ensure that they do not just give contracts to their friends. They should give it to people who are competent, people who can actually provide the service, people who have gone through a competitive tender. Whilst on the issue of the fuel, right now most of the fuel is coming through trucks from Tanzania.
By road.
By road. And there's almost no Zambian trucks which are doing so. Almost none. It's 0.0 something % of those trucks are Zambian trucks. I think that UKA would go and speak with our colleagues in Tanzania to ensure that it is a fair distribution, that any hurdles there are for Zambian truckers to be also able to be bringing in fuel are sorted out bilaterally between Zambia and Tanzania. Those are the kind of things that UKA would do. Those are the kind of solutions it would bring for our truckers and businessmen out there. Yeah. There are lots of other things that we'll do. There's the person who said that the cadreism was there and there are no jobs for the youth. Cadreism is there right now, only it's being done at a very high level. You'll find that mines somewhere in Central Province, high youth leaders in the UPND have taken over mines from Chinese, basically thrown them out. They've been going in and demanding shares from business people. That is cadreism, but now they've elevated it even to at high levels. That is how much cadreism has been elevated by these people. In terms of jobs for the youth, these people are so heartless that the people who were on the roads selling wares, mostly of them were youths. Yes, there's a need to have our roads to be made clean and so forth. But you have to have a plan then, if you're going to take these people off the road, as to where they will go.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
There was no plan for them. They just took them off the road. As a result, we have got a situation where we have got so many junkies, these people called junkies, who are taking over whole compounds, all thing, and really being a menace.
It's partly the source.
It's not partly. It is the source. That is because this government did not think through. If we take all these youths off the road and there's no alternative, how will they survive? They will now start tending to things like crime and so on. Hence, we've never had this situation of junkies before until this government came. Junkies are even more lethal than the cadres were. The junkies are absolutely heartless. That is what this government has brought us. Now, we would ensure that we do have alternatives given for these youths, for them to do a job, so that they do not have to turn to crime. Those are the kind of things that we would do.
State Council, we only have a minute to wrap up, but I would like, there's an interested party here that says UKA's ECL tailored, who tailored cadreism under UKA. How would you help to handle this? Because people are afraid of cadreism.
There would certainly be no cadreism under UKA. That is not something that you need to worry about. What happened in the past is not what UKA wants to do. We are not like UPND who say, oh, in the past this was being done, so it's okay for us to do it. No. With us as UKA, we are saying we want to raise the bar to make sure that the right things are being done by the people in government. And certainly, cadarism is not a right thing, so there will be no cadarism under UKA.
That's an assurance.
That is an assurance. It's not a 14 hours assurance, which is something that you say and don't do. This is an assurance we will do.
Yeah, but then how do you strike a balance between people that are saying, look, we're seeing the former head of state in UKA, those cadarism was rife under his leadership and now he's in UKA. So how are you going to separate those thoughts?
Well, whether there were some wrong things done by him, it doesn't mean that, like I told you earlier on, we are all equals in UKA. We all tell each other off and say, that cannot be done, this cannot be done. And so certainly, you cannot say that Chalakateka was for cadarism. You cannot say that Jackson Slavo was for cadarism. Sabwe Mboela was for cadarism. You cannot say that. You cannot say Sakwa Scotta was for cadarism.
Yeah.
So we've got a mass of people that ensure that there is no cadarism.
State Council, thank you so much for making it through to today's edition of Chatback. We've clearly run out of time, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to the callers out there who've been listening in. Do not worry, UKA is going to come and change the lives of people, because I heard quite a number of people really lamenting that life is hard. We know that is the reason why we decided to come together, so that relief can be brought to the people of Zambia.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.